Hello, pocket knife community, knife lovers, knife enthusiasts, interested viewers. Folder here. I want to do a video to put the age old question to rest for good. It's going to be buried after this video. I am going to answer that question. Which is better, the Hinderer XM-18 3.5 or the Zero Tolerance 0562? CF or TI, either one. This question has been assessed, dabbled, asked so many times, especially because this knife literally is a Hinderer design modeled after this one. And when the ZT came out, everyone was calling it a Hinderer killer. And so the age-old question just came up, and it's just been consistently asked. Well, I'm gonna end it today. The definitive answer. And I'm gonna tell you, the answers that I've heard on reviews are all excellent. I mean, everybody's really saying it, but it always boils down to, if you want to spend more money, you get this one. If you don't want to spend so much, you get this one. You can't go wrong with this one. If you're there, right, nah. There's going to be no lollygagging here. Straight from the horse's mouth. And I guess I'm the horse today. Which one is better? Right? Better is a subjective term, because it's almost like beautiful, right? It's in the eye of the beholder. What's better? Well, not really. If you take a hockey game and the Islanders are playing the Rangers, and the Rangers beat the Islanders 3-2, the Rangers were better. They scored more goals. So it's not always just subjective. So I'm going to answer the question, and then I'm going to go back and tell you why. Okay? So here it is. Everybody, drum roll, hold your breath. Which knife is better, the Hinderer XM-18 3.5 or the ZT Zero Tolerance 0562 CF or TI? And the answer is, come on, man, stop playing around. It's the Hinderer. Of course it is. Of course the Hinderer is better. All right? Yes, it's a better knife. Stop. It's a better knife. And you know why it's a better knife? Because Rick Hinderer designed both of them. And he wasn't going to design this to be better than this, because this is his baby and this is made by another company. So of course he's going to make this one better. This is modeled, the ZT is modeled after the Hinderer. Okay? And yeah, so that's why the Hinderer is better. So now what makes it better? Like, why is it better? So I couldn't do this video before a week or two ago because I didn't own a Hinderer. I owned this knife for a couple of years and I know about it, and it's an excellent knife. And you don't know everything about a knife after owning it for a week, unless you take it and you really put that thing through the paces in that amount of time. And I did not. But I had it for a couple of weeks now, and the things that you do, I carried it every day. I used it lightly because it's not even a sharp edge on here really yet. But the in and out of pocket things, the EDC things, and you can grab an assessment from it. I learned enough to know what the answer to that question is. Okay. So yeah. So this is not going to be a review. We're not going to sit here and go through this and specs and all other stuff. This is just assessing why this knife is better than this. Okay. So other than because Rick Hinderer designed it to be, you have to remember that the mission of this knife, the Hinderers are known to be rugged, stout, well built, excellent tolerances. They're known for that. Okay, the Hinderer XM XM-18 3.5 is a hard use knife. That's its mission, hard use. So now we have a metric in which we're judging this by. You have to judge it in the hard use category because that's how it was designed. And before I actually purchased a Hinderer, I never held one in hand. And after holding one in hand now and having a pretty good idea of how it feels, the most, in my opinion, the most important hard use attribute I never ever thought that I would pull from a Hinderer after holding it for a week or two is the ergos. Rick Hinderer knows what he's doing when it comes to ergos. And, you know, we think hard use, oh, it's got to be beefy, or it's got to be made of this, and the steel's got to be that, and the edge has to be this. And yeah, that's true. That's partially true. But my opinion, the most important part of a hard use knife is how does it feel in your hand? Can you hold it in your hand without gloves usually? I mean, if you use gloves, then you can get away with a lot of other things. But say without gloves, because we're just judging the knife. Can you perform hard use tasks within your hand? Are there hot spots on that knife that are so bad that it's just killing your hand as you're using it? Because if it is, then you can't use it hard use. If it's killing your hand like that, then you can't use it hard use. It has to be comfortable. You have to be able to hold that knife in your hand, and whatever you're doing, you know, if you're doing some serious woodcrafting, you know, if you're cutting up through some serious tires, rubber, because you got to, you know, process all this stuff, and you're holding that thing for an extended period of time, hard use. Because honestly, if a knife isn't made well, like with really strong materials, and put together excellent like a Hinderer, but the ergos are great, you can still use it hard, and you're going to end up throwing it in the garbage after, because it's going to be garbage, but you were able to use it. So the ergos are the single most important, in my opinion, the single most important attribute. And Rick Hinderer has that figured out on this knife. This, I would imagine that the overwhelming demographic of individuals that buy this knife are male. And males traditionally, not always, but traditionally have bigger hands than females. This knife comes in a smaller one, the 3.0, and it comes in the bigger one, the 24, and it also comes in a fatty version of this. My opinion, I feel, as I have relatively big hands, I feel that this size is the absolute perfect size. And I'm mentioning that because that's where it shines over the ZT. The ZT is excellent, and the ergos are very good, but it's a little thin. And when a knife is a little bit thinner, you're gonna find a hot spot after using that. After cutting with it extensively, is gonna be an area that starts to irritate. And I think that Hinderer made this knife the size he did for a reason. At one time, this knife might be looked at as being ridiculously overbuilt. Thanks to Medford, it's not looked at as ridiculously overbuilt anymore. It's a well-built, robust knife, but it's not overbuilt. There's knives out there that are enormous for no reason. You know, Hinderers are not. It's a well thought out plan. So the ZT being of excellent construction, very well made, just doesn't have the ergos of the Hinderer. That's one area. I will say that the titanium version of the ZT is a little better than the carbon fiber with the ergos. And I'm going to say that because the titanium, the carbon fiber, as you see, even though these are the same thickness, they don't look like it visually, but they are. But the liner and the carbon fiber make up this bank, the show side of the knife. So when you hold this knife in hand, you feel a slight imbalance because of this, because this is the titanium side and this is the steel liner and the carbon fiber side. There's a slight, very slight So the titanium one, which I have over here, the titanium version of the ZT does better. It does better because the both scales are the same, exactly the same. So when you feel in hand, it feels more balanced. It feels more even. So yeah, that is definitely an inherent advantage of the titanium. I mean, I'm biased towards metal knives anyway, and titanium. So I think that this knife is just better when you're going to talk about hard use. It's better with the titanium anyway. Uh, so yeah, that's one attribute why the Hinderer is better. The other attribute is, and I can say this because these knives are targeted towards serious enthusiasts only. Because you know how I know that? Because it's price prohibitive. That's how I know. Because unless you're dead serious, you're not gonna, even these knives, these aren't cheap knives. These aren't $10, $20, $50 gas station knives. These are a few $100. You're gonna pay like, so, you know, they're all uh, cost prohibitive to unless somebody is very serious about knives. So because this is targeted towards the serious buyer in the serious market, uh, deployment is also a factor. Yeah, deployment is also a factor. So this is the second reason why the Hinderer is better than the ZT. Rick Hinderer made this a flipper, right? It's got a flipper tab on it, right? And I've seen some people use this blade stop as a thumb stud. This is not a thumb stud. It is a blade stop. And the most incredible people can use this as a thumb stud. I cannot. I am not incredible like that. Right? It's extremely difficult to do because that's not what it's designed for. And you know that because look how close it is to the scale. There's no ramp. See how there's a ramp here, right? This has a ramp leading down to it. This does not. And you look at the other side, look how close it is. It's up against the lock bar, and on this one there's space. So there's only one form of deployment on this knife, and that's it right there. That's it. You have to hit it. You have to, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's beautiful, but only one form of deployment. The Hinderer, these are blade stops, but they're also thumb studs. You know how I know? Because I can reverse flick it. That's how I know. I can spidey flick it, right? And we, in the knife community, we like multiple forms of deployment. Okay? So automatically, the ZT is at a disadvantage there. Do you think Rick Hinderer didn't know that he was making this knife with one form of deployment? You think he didn't know that, the true enthusiasts are going to say, wow, man, I wish I had something more than just a flipper tab. Not that we don't love flipper tabs, but damn, give me a fuller, give me thumb studs, give me something. Something else I can, reverse flick it if I want. I can spidey flick it if I want. Nah. We're not doing that. You know why we're not doing that? Because we do not want this knife to come close to this knife. That's why. We don't want that. So as good as the ZT-0562 is, as good as this knife is, it was designed with a deficiency. It was designed, in its design, only one deployment method. And that matters to people who are enthusiasts. So, anyway, I'm not going to rant anymore about this because I think I hit the nail on the head. The Hinderer is better. And it's better because the ergos are better for hard use. And it has multiple forms of deployment. This does not. Having said that, this is an excellent knife. Absolutely excellent. I love the ZT. I love the ZT. I really, really do. Really, really, really nice knife. highly recommend the ZT. You don't have to buy a Hinderer. So, you know, that's what it is. If you're thinking about, you know, oh, do I get the ZT or Hinderer? If you're thinking about it, yeah, you're not missing anything. As excellent as this is, you don't have to get it. I had to get it because I'm crazy like that, and I'm a knife nut. But you don't have to get it. Anyway, that's all I got.